Hi guys, welcome back to the tutorial. So in this video, let's see how we can make this URLs dynamic. So actually there are two ways to make this dynamic, and this is specifically with respect to the get method, not with respect to the post method. So we will be using a get method how to pass the data from a get method to our function and do some computation and return the output from that specific parameters. So let's get started. So one of the way is making a dynamic URLs. So you can see now instead of a user I need to give the specific name here. So let me give it as a name. So this must be dynamic name. Like if I pass some name Amruta, so like if I pass a name of Amruta here, it must automatically display as an Amruta. Instead of allow user, it must display as an allow Amruta. Okay. So now let's make it in a dynamic way. So one thing to notice, like we need to have a dynamic URL variable. So how to make that? So basically, now we have this called this is a dynamic variable that we will be passing for our URL, and you can see like it has been given in a sharp brackets. So this is a syntax for making that specific variable as a dynamic. And one thing to note, you can see here we have given it as a name, right? For our function we need to have an parameter with the same name itself. If it is a name 1, we must have name 1 here, or else if it is just a name, it must be a name here. So whatever the name that will be given here will pass for this function, and inside this function it will dynamically wrap up the name and it will display as a hello user. So let's see how it works uh, in our browser. So now you cannot access the just URL name. So one thing, let's try to have both the options. So let's copy the same function, and let's have this, and let's remove this, and we cannot have a same function name. So let's have some different function, and let's keep it as an old format itself, like allow user. Okay. Now let's go for our browser, and if I go for my browser, you can see now if I give the name, it is giving it as an allow user. Now you can ask me, Dhanush, where is it is an almost same that what we saw in our old video, right? Now let's give some random name here. Let me give a Dhanush here and try to run. You can see it has been dynamically wrapped. Means, as I said, this is a name variable that is appended for the uh, name URL as an endpoint. For that endpoint we are attaching a variable called as a name. That variable name has been passed to this function and it has been retrieved from here. So this is a way you can dynamically pass in variable from your URL to your backend. Apart this, there is another technique which you can make. The another technique is so you can ask me, Dhanush, if what if I have a multiple parameters or a multiple names? Okay, so just think you have in two names, first name and then last name. Okay, you cannot dynamically adjust all these parameters for your URL. That is something very tough you can manage, right? So for that purpose, let's customize this second, I mean to say this allow user endpoint, allow user URL itself. Instead of this, what we can do is we can import another utility called as a request. So this request module that is present in a Flask, so how it basically works. So now you can see if you go for your Google or any of the URLs. Let me go for my Google. Okay. Uh, so if I go for my Google, if I try to search Dhanush, okay, you can see there is a search and then a query parameter, and this all the parameters that will be used for a get request. Okay. So you can see there are multiple parameters like Q, I, so basically some other parameters. Okay, so you need to give such type of URLs. Those are the standard URL formats. So for that purpose, what we try to do is we will go for our what the VS Code. here instead of this, what I try to do is I will get a is equal to request dot args dot get. So I will try to get all the parameters that are present in that URL, just like q and h that we saw in our Google URL. Okay, now let me give it as an fname. If fname is not there, it must be none. So basically it is a dictionary. Okay, before that, before assigning like this, let's try to get what is the format of that and all. So let's try to print request dot args dot get. Okay, and what is that, and let's try to see what is the content that we will be getting if we do like that. So if I go for my browser and for the same URL, instead of this I will add a question mark here, and I will give name is equal to Dhanush and try to run. You can see the allow user has been run, but in our terminal you can see it is a dictionary with a key called as a name and a value with a Dhanush. Okay, so you got what is a key you will be expecting, and from that key what values you will be retrieving. So as it is a dictionary, what you can do is let's assign it for a variable. Let's try to parse that from our dictionary. So how we can parse that from our dictionary is, as I said, we have this request dot arg dot get. In that, it's just a simple way that how we basically fetch the data from our dictionary. You can use a keyword name. If there is a no keyword called as a name in that specific parameter, it will be I can say it is an f name not there. F name is not there. And if and b is request dot args dot get l name. So let me give it as an f name and it is an l name. So first name and a last name. If last name is not there, l name is not there. So now we have two of this, and let's concatenate here. Hello, ye, ye, comma, b. Okay. So now we have this function ready. Now let's try to run. And now in our URL, let's try to give it in a form of like this. Uh, the question mark is obviously there. This is the specific syntax that any URL or any REST API follows. So now fname is equal to Dhanush and lname is equal to Nayak. If I try to run, you can see like both the variables are present. Like my first name is also present and the last name is also present, and that has been done in a dynamic way. Now instead of last name, if I don't give a last name, what happens? You can see Dhanush last name is not there. Okay, and if I don't give anything, still that URL will be running. Like you can see hello, f name not there, l name not there. So this is a way like you can make the URLs dynamic. So as of now you are doing it in a form of a get method, right? You can similarly do it for a post method also. So we will see that in our next video. Thank you.